Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Force for Growth Live. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Pull up your drink, your coffee, your tea, your water, your protein shake, or whatever other favorite beverage you may have in your favorite cup and or water bottle. Join the conversation. Comment below. Let us know where you're coming from. And good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Monday, you guys. We're about halfway through. We're a little over halfway through November. How y'all feeling?
Man,
It's going fast.
we're zooming along.
Mm-hmm.
November is
the end of the
speeding.
year. It's coming fast.
It's coming fast. We're right around the corner from
It's
2021.
about to be 2021.
And for those of you listening right now, do
Mhm.
not wait until January 1st to start setting those goals. Start working on them right now, today, ASAP. Start right now so you can go into January 2021 on fire.
Yes, you still have time to turn it completely around. Trust me.
You do.
I've done it.
You do.
Yes.
Oh, and it's a beautiful day here in North Texas also. Kind of cool, but it looks like
It
it's going to
is.
warm up.
It is. Yes. It's supposed to be warm all week, but I love the crisp morning in North Texas.
It is a crisp
Smell of
morning.
the air.
So what's up, Courtney? What are we doing today?
We are doing our word of the week, guys. So I want to tell you about it. So we select our word of the week each Monday on our 6 a.m. calls by pulling a Do 52 stick that is stamped with a verb. And Do 52, it's a simple but very powerful toolkit designed by House of Shine to prompt us weekly to do things mindfully and open ourselves up to new ideas, new perspectives. So our word this week is an interesting one. It is scribble.
That was a hard one.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
just
So-
drop your initial thoughts right here because we're curious
Yeah.
to find that part.
So
Yes,
the
Bobby Castillo.
definition,
Break it down.
What you got?
What's the
the
definition?
definition of scribble is write or draw something carelessly or hurriedly. That's it. That's all there is to the
That's
definition for the verb, which is what we focus on
Yes.
with the 52. Yeah, it's a tough one. We actually had a decent conversation this morning off of the word scribble, though. We didn't think
did.
we were going to get anywhere. So
But
what does
we
it bring
got
up
there.
for you guys? Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
I'm going to let y'all go first. I'm still gathering my thoughts because, it was a powerful conversation this morning. What do you think, Michelle?
The one thing that had come to my mind was the sticky notes. So scribbling things on sticky notes and then having sticky notes everywhere and the disorganization of that, losing, it's not really paying close attention to those things because they get lost. And, you might write a number down or something like that, and then it gets lost. And that led us to Jesse asking about digital in the digital age. Do we scribble? And yes, we absolutely do scribble digitally.
Yeah.
And we basically have sticky notes in our phones. And I had like 499 of them,
Yeah.
I think,
Michelle
when we
wins.
looked. And yeah. And even what we got to talking about with our photos in our phones, that's another way we scribble. Like we take snapshots of moments and then we forget about them.
Mhm.
Yes. Several snapshots, not just one, but more than one.
Thousands of snapshots. That's where because I actually, the day before, that's yesterday, was sitting there laying on my couch. It's like, okay, I'm going to clear out 5,000 pictures right now. And it kind of brought back mixed emotions for me. I've had this phone for almost 2 years, and 2 years ago, so I scrolled to the bottom, right? Because I'm like, that's the stuff I'll easily be able to delete, right? The stuff that was oldest. And this stuff was, I don't know, pictures of notes from a very hard time, pictures prepping for very hard, pictures of notes where I kind of was journaling, trying to get through a really hard time. And it just brought back some emotions. So for me, it was pivotal because even though I can't see that, by me storing it in my phone, if I were to see that and it brings back all this negative emotion, all this emotions like I'm trapped, like I'm helpless, like I'm overwhelmed, it's still affecting me because I'm holding it and making space for it. So it was actually very therapeutic to be like, delete, I don't need you anymore. Delete, I don't need you anymore. I don't need you. I will never need you again. And so it was a therapy session. So I struggle to see the bad in Scribble when the word came up this morning, because I'm like, well, in digital terms, we're talking our phone and kind of how we scribble most often. There are good and bad ways to it. So there are positive and negative ways, like doodling when you're bored and you're ignoring whatever you're watching, or, lecture, things like that, that not good. Be where your feet are, or just leave. If you're not feeling something in your life, just leave, But on the other hand, it also is very therapeutic for us to scribble out our thoughts. So it really opened up a can of worms for me, where I was kind of like, wow, I didn't think that much would be there on the word scribble.
Here's a thought. Michelle, you're a big fan of the Post-it notes and scribbling on Post-it notes. You just told us about your 499 scribbles digitally. If we did not have phones and we did not have the notepad apps or sticky note apps on our phone, would you have 499 pieces of paper laying around everywhere?
No, because I would get sick of it being everywhere way before it got to that point, and I would clean it up and go through it and throw them away.
But yet, because it's digital, it makes it easier to let your scribbles
Out of
pile
sight,
up.
out of sight, out of mind. Yes.
Yeah.
That is
Yes.
interesting, because you're very much the type that will declutter stuff as soon as you don't need it. And you talk openly about that. And however, hearing you talk about this, it's technically you're just organizing clutter very well.
Yes, it's very well organized clutter. And because
Yeah, I don't like.
the same thing with your pictures, Courtney. You wouldn't have, 5,000 Polaroids chilling
Mm-hmm.
all over the place,
Yeah.
right?
Who
Because
takes
it's
notes
nice
of
and-
notes?
Yeah.
And the odd thing is, I still have those notes. Like, I probably could still find that notebook I wrote that in, but I would take a picture, because what if I lost the notebook? So it's just preparing and backing up my scribbles, and wasted energy is what we could sum all this up as. And I say that because I didn't act on certain things. Like, I didn't jump into action with a lot of it. It just got the thought out of my head and I forgot about it, In those ways, declutter.
One thing that came to mind is, if you're scribbling it, is it that important? If you're scribbling it down on a random piece of paper, is it that important that it's just worthy of a scribble? That's it. It's just worthy of a scribble.
Yeah. Maybe I'll need this, but not like this is definitely important information.
Yeah. It seems rushed. It seems like, okay, I'm just going to jot this down right quick. And here's the other side of that is, we just scribble down information that is important on random pieces of paper. And how many of us have lost a random piece of important paper that we just scribbled down a phone number?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the definition is carelessly or hurriedly. So
Ooh.
being in a hurry,
Mm-hmm.
And being careless.
Yeah.
Not paying attention to it. So that brings up to mind, are we just scribbling through our life? Are we being careless on these moments and not even really appreciating them for what they are?
Mm-hmm. And I think the way you phrased it this morning was, what are the scribbles of your life? Like, if you could just label some things, what are your scribbles? And it's eye-opening.
Yeah. One of the things I love that it brought up this morning was being present, be where your feet are. And so much of our lives, we're on autopilot. And if we would just be where our feet are, be present in the moment, be intentional or deliberate about the moment. But one of the things I loved is that Suresh gave us an example of that. And what was so neat about it is he remembers moments because he was present in the moment. And so much of our lives on autopilot, we forget, we don't remember. And so, the vivid little details are gone. But if we're present, we're creating memories that we can recall later and relive wonderful moments.
Yeah. The memories, when you are where your feet are, those memories, good or bad, get stored in your cells. And so Suresh's example and he went to go visit his dad when his dad was ill and in another country. But it things like, he sat and had tea with them. He can remember he had tea, not coffee, or, and just little. But when Michelle pointed out, see at how many details you're sharing with us, and that was years ago, because he made it a point to not rush, to savor this morning with his dad, and just that is how you create memories. And so I don't know, I guess maybe it's my monkey brain or lizard brain, but it's just, I get so worried about, I need to savor this moment. I need to fall in love and be enchanted with this moment, because what if I forget? And that's silly, because if you're really there, you'll remember. It's all stored in your body. It's all stored in your cells. So you don't need to worry about trying to remember and all this wasted energy and effort. But, the stuff that you keep forgetting, that you're like, oh, I need to remember to do that. I need to remember it. That's something that's draining you. So just get it done, get it out of the way. Don't tell yourself for the next 2 weeks, I need to remember to do that.
Is that the equivalent of writing a thought in a memory on a journal, a nice journal, versus writing a nice thought, a journal entry on a piece of loose notebook paper? Where
Yeah.
you're present and you're caring for the memory. You want to keep it, you want to store it somewhere where it deserves to be stored, versus on the back of a napkin.
Yeah.
However, I will say this. Matthew McConaughey has a new book out, and one of the things that he talked about was that he compiled this book from quote unquote journal entries and thoughts from random pieces of paper and the back of napkins. So there's always an exception, and I think Matthew McConaughey has a great exception to that.
See, one thing I appreciate about Ricardo immensely is he taught me, get a nice journal, get a nice pen, or I think, to quote you exactly, get a pen that feels sexy to write with, but get something that you enjoy, like you're present in the moment when you use these items. And he'll talk about, he has certain journals that those are for Sebastian when he, hopefully Sebastian wants them one day, because they're your prized thoughts, your prized ideas, and where I'm the opposite, where cheap notebooks. I'll buy the $1 whenever it's school season, 17 cents. I will buy like 20 for the year. But yeah, I'll just jot down ideas in certain categories of my life. But so whatever your style is, embrace it and recognize your style. Because I have one nice notebook. I can't do everything in that nice notebook. A lot of it scribbles. But another idea I wanted to add, it's really therapeutic. I don't know if it's an NLP technique or not, but another thing you can do if you are having a lot of anxious thoughts and limiting thoughts is scribble them down on a random piece of paper, and then either ball it up and throw it in the trash and watch it go in the trash and know that those thoughts are trash, or go outside and light it on fire like I do. But just a therapeutic way when you are feeling overwhelmed and there's just a lot, get it out, and then do something visually where you just seal the fate of that. Like, this ends now.
That's the same idea of the brain dump, where you take a blank sheet of paper, maybe a random sheet of paper that you don't care about, and just write every thought that comes to your mind and just laying it all out in no random order, not even a list, just wherever it lands, and just writing every thought down and getting it out and just getting it out of your mind, and then looking at it and seeing what you have. No limitations.
Yeah. Because maybe you do need that later. Maybe you don't, Yep. Yes. Sorry.
I want to go back to the napkins. So there is a concept called napkin dreaming, and I've done that a couple of times. And I actually have a little bottle, like a little decorative bottle on my desk with a rolled up napkin that has all my dreams written on it. And so the concept is sit down with a napkin, because a lot of times so many great ideas, just like Matthew McConaughey, you were saying, are birthed out of, sitting and jotting things that just come to you down on a napkin. And so you actually take a napkin, you write all your dreams on it, what you want to accomplish, roll it up and keep it. And then later on, go back and open up the napkin and look at it and see what things you have accomplished on that.
Oh, I like that.
I love that. And to add a level of manifestation technique, I have a dream jar I bought at a Native American shop in Colorado, but any cup will do. You can reminder you have the power to bless anything you want. Okay. But yeah, just like that jar she keeps it in, that's a very special spot because she only puts special things in there. So it kind of has its own little energy field. So you can add to that by just blessing your jar, making it your dream jar, adding that intention to it.
One thing as far as keeping notes and scribbles that are valuable, Jerry Seinfeld keeps a notepad next to his nightstand, because in the middle of the night, he'll have an idea of a joke or a bit, and he'll just roll over and write it down. And some of the best bits that he's come up with for the show and for his stand-up came from the middle of the night where he got up and just jotted it down. But he's also very admitted that he sometimes can't read them. He'll wake up and be like, I don't understand what this means. I don't know what this means. Why? And he even did a Seinfeld episode about that where he had a scribble of a great joke and he wasn't able to read it to decipher what it meant.
Mm-hmm. And don't do that on, I've heard the response, well, I can just do that on my phone. I keep my phone on my nightstand. Don't do that. If you intend to go back to sleep, do not inject the blue light and all that into your brain because it'll mess up your circadian rhythm. But anyway, so
Wow,
do
you got
keep an
excited
old
about that
fashioned
one.
note. Yeah. I mean, I can't go back to sleep. It's 2 a.m. I'm like, had a genius idea. And my body's like, let's get up and work on it. We need to go. Like, no, so just keep an old fashioned.
The blue light literally affects your melatonin. And so it physically creates a situation in your body where it's harder to go back to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And I have a question. Hold on. Before we
Okay.
go any further, Courtney, is that really what your brain sounds like? When it's yelling at
oh,
you?
my brain sounds a lot crazier. Yeah, no, I always tone it down here.
Oh, man.
If only y'all could spend 5 minutes inside there with me, y'all would understand.
We'll pass. Let's see here. Bobby Cassio. Interesting conversation. Some of my best thoughts and memories came from scribbles.
Mm-hmm.
A scribble,
Yeah.
nice little short moment, a little moment in life that you've captured in a random place. Carelessly. You know, why do we have so much? Is it so bad to be careless sometimes? Is that such a bad thing? Yes, we want to be present. Yes, we want to be where our feet are. Yes, we want to do all this stuff and be where we are and pay attention and be loving and be caring.
That's a
But
great point.
is it so bad to, at times and in certain moments and in certain occasions, to just be careless?
Do you mean careless in terms of spontaneous? Is that what you're
Ooh.
referring to?
Great question.
Because
Yes.
Yeah.
you can be spontaneous and be where your feet are and create amazing memories and have tons of fun.
Yeah. So intentional was the word that came to my mind, Michelle, where I was like, does he mean intentional? Because you can be carefree, but still be intentional about, I'm going to enjoy this day off because,
Mhm.
you know, I don't have to actually do anything or whatever. But yeah, it kind of took me aback because why do we force ourselves to care so much all the time? We've really been talking about this morning and up until this point on the podcast. But yeah, that's a great point.
Okay, some of the definitions for careless. Well, it's an adjective, first of all, and it's not given sufficient attention or thought to avoiding harm or errors, or not concerned or worried about, showing no interest or effort, casual. She gave a careless shrug. He was careless about his own safety. He admitted to careless driving. That's interesting.
That is.
Do we care too much?
Yes, about certain things.
Sometimes.
Yes, absolutely.
Other people's opinions, for sure.
Addiction to
For sure.
approval.
Yeah.
Yeah, addiction to approval. Just if you've never heard that term, I
Mhm.
learned it from Sean Murphy. But yeah, it's literally an addiction similar to a drug addiction. So just know where you are on that scale. But yeah, there's a lot of other things we could care more about. But I feel like that's kind of a more personal
Maybe
an
some
individual's
thoughts,
life.
maybe some thoughts need to be scribbles. Some thoughts need to be scribbled that you are what was the
Mhm.
definition of scribble? Careless, right? That was one of the definitions.
Careless
And
or
hurried.
hurriedly.
Yeah, some of these thoughts just need to
Yeah.
be careless, jotted down, acknowledged, and be done with it. Hurried. Let's just hurry and get this
Moving
thought down
on.
and move it. Yes. Let's just scribble some of these thoughts down that are not serving us carelessly and move on.
What's that? The
Yes.
question, the word
Wow.
manuscript
Man,
came
this
to
is so
mind, but
good.
yeah, like if you just recognize like and discern Michelle's word, is this a scribble or is this a manuscript for my masterpiece? And just know in that moment, so you do like let those chains go and you're not over here caring about something that needs to just be a scribble in your life, like what people think of you, like what your neighbor said about you last week. You know, you're putting way too much time in that when what you think about yourself is your absolute manuscript for your masterpiece, you know.
Ooh,
But yeah.
manuscript versus
I
scribble.
like that. That's great.
Yeah.
That is so good. Some
That's gonna-
things
I'm
are
gonna
some
use
things
that
are just
all week and-
scribbles. Some things are
Yeah.
just scribbles. Like, let me just scribble that down. I'm not going to imprint this in my brain or inside of my belief system or make it part of my identity. It's just a scribble. It's like, oh, okay. It's just, it comes and goes.
Yeah, it's like in my most like overwhelmed kind of depressed days, but I remember Tony Robbins talking about the bird. It's like a thought and a bird floats by instead of like reaching up and identifying with the bird and being like, I am this thought. So I don't know, you have a negative thought like nobody will love me or something like that. Instead of absorbing that thought and being like, this is true, just see it as a bird going by. Ah, look at that crappy bird.
Or a
Bye.
post-it
Like you
note
don't have
that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever had anxiety about throwing
Yeah.
away post-it notes?
The Untethered Soul talks about that.
It does.
A great read in this subject.
Yes.
Break it down, Michelle.
Yeah. Untethered Soul?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that what you're wanting me to break down?
Break it down.
The whole thing.
Okay. Yeah.
whole
So
book.
the Untethered Soul talks. Okay. The whole book.
Oh, just that
We're going to
moment.
be here for a while. No, it talks about that. Just letting things pass, like acknowledge it and let it pass through, and don't like get wrapped up in situations, or we just get wrapped up so much in things and it just completely zaps our energy when our energy should be used for that manuscript. Like Courtney said, it could be used on things that serve us so much better, and we let our energy get zapped by things that should just be that bird flying by. Just let it pass.
Which Suresh was a great example because he gave us a situation this morning with his teenage child and the art of not reacting, and he just stayed calm and firm and it all worked out. But yeah, that was just an amazing example it's so profound.
What if you use Scribble at like a filter?
Yeah.
And let me explain this to you. So you have a thought, something happens, and you just scribble it down on the post-it note, a metaphorical post-it note, maybe even a physical post-it note or a little thing on your phone, whatever that may be for you. And then take a look after a little while, after it's gone, after time has passed, maybe a couple of hours, maybe a day, go back and look at that scribble and then decide, is this something that I need to hold on to and put it in my manuscript, or is it something that I can just go ahead and let go and delete?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because reflection comes in time. Reflection comes in time. You scribble it down in the moment and you reflect on it, and you're going to have a different feeling about it. And maybe a different breakthrough, maybe a different thought, maybe a different meaning. And that's worth keeping on, holding on to. Or maybe it's still a sucky thing and you're like, okay, well, I'm just done with it at this point. There's no point in harboring it.
Yeah. That's a similar to kind of journaling, even if you don't write 5 pages about, whatever you're going through. If you just journal 5 lines a day, you can go back and see the pattern of where you were. There's one spiritual practitioner's course I went through, we're required to journal at least 10 lines a day, even if it's just gibberish, but so you can see what matters to you when you look back and look at your progress. But yeah, I like the idea of using it as a filter.
I've challenged people to journal 1 line a day. People who've never journaled, just 1 line a day.
Yeah, 1 statement.
And guess what happens?
They write a lot more.
Yeah, it's more than 1 line.
They write more.
it's always more than 1 line. But the thought and the idea of just summing up your day or summing up a moment in 1 line, there's something to that.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to it. It's harder to sum it up in 1 line than it is in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, a paragraph.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, all right. Michelle Martini, final thoughts, Scribble.
Final thoughts. I really am like noodling on the idea of the sticky notes. So, like having your sticky notes and then categorize them. Is this important or is this let it go? Put them in their place, put those thoughts in their place, jot them down, put them in their place.
That's a powerful line, Michelle. Put them in their place. Man, good or bad.
Yeah.
Your power. It's not your brain controlling you.
Yeah, some of those thoughts belong in the trash, and some of those thoughts belong in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a category. It's a tab.
It is.
Thank you, Michelle. Final thoughts, Courtney.
Okay. So I am, I'm the index card girl. So I'm not necessarily the Post-it note girl. I'm the index card girl. So I'm going to read you, actually, let me take it down because it has my 2mm wrench on there. Okay. So this is my latest of just 5, but that's my 2mm wrench that I have taped there, which reminds me 2mm. But what I have written, I'm going to read it from the bottom to the top, but this is a quote by Joan. Joan, thank you, from our morning calls. Amazing woman. Humans can't make perfect, but we can make excellent. Michelle Martini, be where your feet are. This one, Rhonda Bird Parker. Your mess is proof of your existence and proof you're living. Is kind of her idea. And then this one, Ricardo taught me, but collapse it into reality. And you'll have to name the study the cat, because I never get it right and remember it, but collapse it into reality. So these are just my scribbles that I keep, and I change this out like once every few weeks, once every few months, whenever they stop resonating. But right now, those 5 things are what I'm really utilizing daily, multiple times a day. But just like move it to the next step, collapse it into reality, like make something happen. And the cat study, what's the name of it?
Schrodinger's cat.
Okay. Hey, I got it. Okay. And yeah, basically it's the study of the cat where until you open the box, you don't truly know if the cat is alive or dead yet. And you can look that up on your own, because I don't know if we have time to go over that. Sorry, recorder. But basically what it means to me is, okay, if the cat's not alive or dead yet, open the box, make something happen. I'm not a fan of killing cats. This is all a metaphor, and you know that. But anyway, basically just like open the darn box and collapse it into something, So just a reminder that if you're not doing anything and you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, that's a choice too. You're collapsing a reality there too. It's just not going to be the one you want. So those are my scribbles, and they're still really powerful to me. So they're leading me to my manuscript that maybe one day I'll write more organized, but hey.
Big disclaimer, the Force for Growth show does not condone harming or injuring cats. No cats or any other kind of pet or animal was harmed during the recording of this podcast.
Not at all. Nor the study. But yes, okay. So
for me,
what is yours?
I think for me, it's you are the keeper of your mind. You are the keeper of your mind, the captain of your soul. You decide what scribbles go in and you put in your heart, and what scribbles need to be thrown in the trash.
Yeah.
You decide.
Yeah.
You decide. It's just a scribble. It's not permanent. It's careless. It's carefree. It's rushed. It's fast, right? And it can move on just as easy as it came. You don't have to keep it. You don't. It is a choice. You don't have to hold on to that scribble that just happened. Yeah. That moment that just happened that didn't agree with you, that wasn't ideal. It's just a scribble. You can decide to hold on to it. You can decide to let it go. You can decide to revisit that scribble later on and possibly make a manuscript out of it, or you can throw it in the trash, burn it. Whatever you decide, it's a choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
It. Mic drop.
All
right.
I like this word a lot more now.
Yes, it's a good conversation.
Yes.
So we have our wheel here.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. We're going to give away, and somebody's going to win the Tony Robbins Ultimate Relationship Program. New in the box and sealed. We have all the names of all the entries here. We're going to draw. First, we're going to shuffle. Somebody give me a number 1 through 5.
4.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shuffled. And we're going to draw. Where's the draw button? There it is. The wheel is spinning.
It's exciting.
And the winner is
Tim.
Tim.
Yay!
Tim.
Yay, Tim!
Yay!
That's exciting.
Whoa, look at that. We even get fireworks.
Fun.
Confetti.
Well-deserved
Yay, Tim.
friend. Yes. Thank you
Ah,
for the share, Tim. We appreciate you listening and everything else you do.
yes, Tim. Tim is on our board for Baskets for Good. He's been a total superstar. So
Yes, he has.
and we wouldn't have been able to do this without his help and his assistance. So
Yeah.
congratulations, Tim. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, we'll be back on
Wednesday. Yeah.
Yay. And on Thursday night.
Yes.
Thursday evening. Make sure you look for us Thursday evening for our first Thursday evening recording, because this weekend is Baskets for Good.
Basket.
Yes.
And we'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be
Yes.
recording.
So come
Thursday
see us.
evening.
Come see us. I think on Saturday, the Beyond Meat truck will be out there feeding us. Just lots of cool things. So many cool things.
What is Beyond Meat, Courtney? Tell us about Beyond Meat.
It is a vegan meat alternative with plant-based proteins and vegetables as the basis. But as far as the world of vegan alternative meats, Beyond Meat's the superior taste and texture, and you name it. They've done so many studies where they've tested trying to give burgers to people that had no idea it was vegan. They can't tell. So, but they're delicious. They're just full of flavor. Yeah.
Would you
I'm a big
say
fan.
Beyond Meat is Beyond
Meat? I would.
Meat?
I would.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you so much for
reading.
joining us, guys. And we'll be back on Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Beyond Meat. Beyond.